This is a mangrove forest that we're in. It looks great. It should be in pristine shape. There's birds and wildlife, and it acts as a nursery, the mangroves, for fish and other species and invertebrates. And then you've got this. Huge amounts of plastic all over that comes in from the sea. There's an enormous amount of plastic trash out in the ocean. When there's rains, typhoons, storms, hurricanes in the Caribbean, things like that, it washes all that garbage and plastic to the coast. It ends up in the mangroves. Some of this originates from land, and then it goes both ways. It goes back from the land into the sea, into the ocean, and then with the rains and storm surges and typhoons and hurricanes, it goes from the oceans back to the land. The plastic doesn't go anywhere. All it does is break down into smaller pieces that are virtually impossible to collect. So this is an example of what should be a beautiful mangrove, pristine area with big piles of trash all over the place. So we're going to get to this. It's not going to be today, but we're in another spot with other plastic, or maybe we'll get to it later today. I don't know. There's many areas like this with plastic scattered all over the place, but this will be cleaned up, and when we're done, it's going to look pristine again. The problem is there's an enormous amount of plastic in the ocean. Every day, millions and millions of pounds keep going in there. A lot of it's plastic wrappers, like such as these things, and they don't break down. So you got to address this on many levels. Stop the use of non-recyclable plastic materials and single-use styrofoam and straws and so much other things that have to be done. Better waste management, changing materials that we're using, especially these single-use items like this that just never degrade, just break down and end up all over the place. So that's all got to be addressed. But on our level, as a small organization, our program is to employ people and have that be the model for cleanups, because we know this is incredibly labor intensive. No one's going to come out day in and day out and clean up this massive amount of trash and garbage that's contaminating mangroves and coral reefs and all these ecologically, biologically rich areas. No one's going to do it, especially in developed countries with high levels of poverty and unemployment. They're not going to do it unless they're employed. Then they're motivated. They want to show up. I asked the workers, how many would show up day in and day out if we weren't paying them? No one's going to show up. They need money. They need work. So combining an anti-poverty employment project with an environmental cleanup such as this, removing plastic and all these contaminants and getting them out of the environment, it's good for people, it's good for the environment, it's incredibly necessary for the planet. And hopefully this program will expand and it will become the model, not just for here, this is a pilot project now, but hopefully this will become the model all over the world, especially in developing nations, which is the source of most of the plastic contamination and where people desperately need work. So this is a combination: employment, anti-poverty, sustaining livelihoods while cleaning coast and other areas.